After Alex Ela, the young Filipina tennis sensation, exited Wimbledon, the stadium seats started emptying. Not slowly. Not gradually. But rapidly. Almost as if someone had pressed a button. Almost as if the crowd was waiting for her to lose so they could leave. And that is where the controversy begins. Because Wimbledon is not just a tournament. It is a symbol of tennis royalty. It is tradition. It is prestige. It is the dream of every tennis player. And yet, when a young underdog from the Philippines was eliminated, the stadium turned into a ghost town. Was it racism? Was it favoritism? Was it the lack of star power? Or was it something deeper, something that the tennis establishment does not want you to know? Today, we are going to uncover the truth behind Wimbledon's empty seats after Alex Ela's exit. And trust me, what you are about to hear will shock you. So sit back, grab your popcorn, and watch this video till the very end. Because the truth is ugly. The truth is uncomfortable. And the truth is something that Wimbledon does not want you to see. Let's begin. Alex Ela. A name that was unknown to the average tennis fan just a few years ago. A name that is now on the lips of every tennis enthusiast. A name that represents hope, resilience, and the power of dreaming big. Born on May 14, 2005, in Manila, Philippines, Alexandra Alex Ela was not your typical tennis prodigy. She did not come from a wealthy family. She did not have access to top-tier coaching from a young age. She did not have the privileges that many of her competitors had. But what she had was something far more powerful, an unshakable belief in herself. Ela started playing tennis at the age of 5. Her parents recognized her talent early and decided to support her dream, even though they knew it would be a difficult journey. They moved to Spain when Alex was just 13 years old so she could train at the Rafa Nadal Academy, one of the best tennis academies in the world. It was a bold move. A risky move. But it paid off. At 15, Ela became the first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam title when she won the 2020 Australian Open Girls Doubles title. Then came the 2021 French Open Girls Doubles title. Then the 2022 US Open Junior Singles title, the first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam singles title. Her name was written in the history books. But it was not just her titles that made people fall in love with her. It was her fighting spirit. Her never-say-die attitude. Her ability to win matches that seemed unwinnable. She became a symbol of hope for Philippine sports. She became a source of pride for every Filipino. When Ela qualified for Wimbledon 2026, the Philippines went crazy. Social media exploded with support. The hashtag #ElaAtWimbledon started trending. People stayed up all night to watch her matches. They cheered from their homes, from their offices, from every corner of the country. They believed that she could do the impossible. And she almost did. Ela played some of the best tennis of her career at Wimbledon. She defeated higher-ranked opponents. She showed incredible composure. She proved that she belonged on the biggest stage in tennis. The crowd loved her. The commentators praised her. The world took notice. And when she was finally eliminated in the third round, after a hard-fought battle against a top 10 player, the stadium was filled with applause. People stood up. They clapped. They celebrated her performance. But then, something strange happened. The seats started emptying. Not because the match was over. Not because people were tired. But because something else was going on. Something that the cameras did not capture. Something that the media did not talk about. The fans who had been cheering for Ela just moments ago were now leaving in large numbers. The seats that had been full of energy and excitement were now empty. The stadium that had been buzzing with noise was now silent. And the question that everyone is asking is, why? Why did the crowd leave after Alex Ela's exit? Was it because they were only there to support her? Was it because they had no interest in watching the other matches? Or was there something more sinister at play? Let us dig deeper. To understand why the seats went empty after Alex Ela's exit, we must first understand Wimbledon itself. Because Wimbledon is not like any other tennis tournament. It is special. It is unique. And it is, in many ways, deeply problematic. Wimbledon is the oldest tennis tournament in the world. It has been held since 1877. It has a rich history. It has traditions that date back over a century. Players must wear all white clothing. There are no advertisements on the courts. The grass courts are meticulously maintained. The entire event oozes class, elegance, and prestige. But behind that polished exterior lies a dark reality. Wimbledon is often criticized for being elitist, exclusive, out of touch. The tournament has historically been dominated by white, wealthy, European and American players. It is a tournament that has struggled with diversity. It is a tournament where fans are often more interested in tradition than in the actual sport. The crowd at Wimbledon is notoriously selective. The center court and number 1 court are often filled with corporate sponsors, celebrities, and VIPs, many of whom are not even tennis fans. They are there for the prestige. They are there for the social status. They are there to be seen. And this creates a unique dynamic. When a player like Alex Ela, a young woman from a developing country, performs well, the crowd may cheer for her. They may admire her fighting spirit. They may appreciate her underdog story. But when she is out of the picture, their interest often fades. Because they were never really there for the tennis. They were there for the spectacle. And this is where the racial and cultural elements come into play. Let us be honest here. Tennis is still viewed as a white sport in many parts of the world. The Williams sisters faced racism throughout their careers. Naomi Osaka faced scrutiny. Coco Gauff has talked about the challenges of being a black tennis player in a predominantly white sport. So when a young Filipina player, a player from Southeast Asia, steps onto the court, she is often seen as an outsider. A novelty. A nice story to follow. But when she loses? When the novelty wears off? The crowd moves on. And that is exactly what happened at Wimbledon this year. The images were shocking. Empty seats. Rows and rows of empty seats. Not in the early rounds. Not in the qualifying rounds. But during high-profile matches at Wimbledon. When Alex Ela was eliminated, the attendance dropped significantly. And while Wimbledon officials quickly released statements saying that attendance was within expected limits, the photos and videos circulating on social media told a different story. Let us break it down. First, let us look at the timing. Ela's match was scheduled during the afternoon session. Many fans had purchased day tickets to watch her. They came specifically to see her. And after she was eliminated, they chose to leave. But why? Why would fans leave when there were still high-quality matches to watch? One theory is that many of these fans were from the Filipino community in the UK and Europe. They had come to support their compatriot. They had no interest in watching other players. And once their favorite player was out, they saw no reason to stay. This is completely understandable. Fans do this all over the world. When Roger Federer retired, his fans stopped watching tennis as much. When Serena Williams stepped away, viewership dropped. When your favorite player is gone, the sport is not always the same. But the scale of the exit at Wimbledon was unprecedented. Entire sections were half empty. Even during matches involving top-tier players like Carlos Alcaraz, Iga Swiatek, and Novak Djokovic, the seats were not full. Was this simply a coincidence? Or was it a reflection of something bigger? Here is another theory, one that Wimbledon officials will never admit. Perhaps the crowd never really connected with Ela in the first place. They cheered because she was winning. They cheered because they love an underdog story. But when the underdog lost, the illusion was broken. And the crowd showed its true colors. The reality is that Wimbledon's crowd is not as passionate about tennis as they pretend to be. Many of them are casual viewers. Many of them are there to fulfill a social obligation. And many of them simply do not care about the sport when the big names are not playing. And that is the real tragedy. Because tennis is bigger than any one player. Tennis deserves fans who love the sport for what it is, not for the celebrity status of the players. But Wimbledon's culture has created exactly this problem. And the empty seats after Alex Ela's exit are proof. Where was the media when this was happening? Did the mainstream coverage capture the empty seats? Did the commentators discuss the implications? No. They did not. The media ignored the elephant in the room. They focused on the winners. They focused on the big names. They focused on the narratives that sell, the triumphs, the comebacks, the rivalries. But they did not talk about the empty seats. They did not ask why. They did not challenge Wimbledon officials. They did not explore the cultural and racial implications. Why? Because the media is also part of the problem. The tennis media is dominated by Western outlets. They cover Western players. They cater to Western audiences. They prioritize the narratives that resonate with their viewers. And a young player from the Philippines? She is a good story when she is winning. But when she loses? She is yesterday's news. That is the reality of sports journalism. And this creates a vicious cycle. When the media ignores a story, the public moves on. When the public moves on, the issue is forgotten. And when the issue is forgotten, nothing changes. The empty seats at Wimbledon could have been a massive story. It could have sparked conversations about diversity, elitism, and racial bias. It could have forced Wimbledon to examine its own culture. It could have led to meaningful change. But instead, the media chose silence. And that is why I am making this video. Because someone has to say the truth. Because someone has to hold Wimbledon accountable. Because someone has to ask the questions that the media is too afraid to ask. So where do we go from here? What does this incident mean for the future of tennis? And more importantly, what does it mean for players like Alex Ela? Let me be very clear. Alex Ela is an incredible talent. She is only 21 years old. She has already achieved more than most players will achieve in their entire careers. She has proven that she belongs on the biggest stage in tennis. And despite the empty seats, despite the lack of media coverage, despite the challenges, she will keep fighting. She will keep improving. She will keep making the Philippines proud. But the tennis establishment has a lot of soul searching to do. Wimbledon needs to ask itself, are we truly welcoming to players from all backgrounds? Are we giving every player the respect they deserve? Are we creating an environment that celebrates the sport, not just the big names? The ATP and WTA also have a role to play. They need to do more to promote diversity. They need to do more to support players from developing countries. They need to do more to ensure that tennis is truly a global sport. And the fans? The fans need to show up. Not just for the superstars. Not just for the celebrities. But for the sport itself. Because tennis is beautiful. It is powerful. It is a sport that unites people across borders, across cultures, across languages. And we cannot let elitism, racism, or exclusivity ruin that. The empty seats at Wimbledon were a reminder, a painful, uncomfortable reminder, of how far